All right, good morning. It is October 21st. This is the work session for the Town of Blue Planning Board. We have two items on the agenda this morning. The first is an update on the Wegmans master plan. And then we'll have a discussion around the amended Ethan Allen redevelopment. So I think first up, do we have Ethan Allen present? Pardon me, not Ethan Allen, Wegmans present?
Yes, Tim Dollinger, Wegmans Real Estate Manager, and I believe Art Pierce, Project Manager and Site Development, should be here as well.
Welcome. So I think what we'd like to do is kind of just have you give us a status on where the Wegmans Plaza sits, what your future plans are. I think we want to talk about signage and subdivisions or re-subdivisions, and kind of just get a sense of where things are going. I mean, certainly with the Canandaigua Bank going in, I think we want to get a better grasp on what your future plans for the site are.
Certainly. So the Canandaigua National Bank is under construction. I know they recently came in for a subdivision. So for our properties and Wegmans portfolio, we do require out parcels to be subdivided and be a separate tax ID parcel. Ideally, that's a best practice in real estate. It allows that parcel to be assessed on its own and that tax bill paid directly by the user. Not only that, but it becomes a tradable instrument that at some point down the road, if we ever wanted to sell, we would have that ability being a separately assessed tax ID parcel. We have no plans to do that, but that is just a best practice for us in our plazas. We have basically three buildings on our property right now. That is the Wegmans, the food market. We have the Hobby Lobby and the Liquor City space, as well as the former outdoor storage for the Chase Pick-in. And then we have our small tenant strip building. Long-term for Wegmans, the goal would be to that outdoor storage space we've always felt is great real estate. Currently, we store salt in it for winter, miscellaneous items just to support store operations in the Syracuse division. But from a real estate standpoint, we have always felt that that is excellent retail real estate that is very underutilized. So we are currently in the process in one of our other locations in Rochester of enclosing that outdoor storage shell to place with a tenant. So ideally, from a Wegmans standpoint, our long-term plan would be to enclose that outdoor storage area and put a retail tenant in that space to continue to develop the draw of the plaza and the co-tenancy of the plaza. I'm going to pause there for a second. Any questions for me on anything related to that thought?
The only thought that comes along with that is with the enclosure of that space. From my recollection, the site is parking wise pretty saturated. So by enclosing it and adding an additional tenant space, we will need a full parking study, which includes the entire site, to verify that the added tenant space, which in this image that we're seeing here, I think is that white box on the side there.
That's correct. That's correct.
So with all of that comes additional parking.
Yeah, we could certainly do a parking study. We're fine doing that from a code compliance standpoint. I think practically speaking, I think we have 1,300 parking spaces on the parcel. The parking in front of the Hobby Lobby and the Liquor City is never fully utilized. But we'd be happy to provide that parking study if and when we have a tenant for that potential space.
So how many parcels are how many separate tax parcels make up this whole Wegmans Plaza?
So there are multiple separate tax parcels. There were multiple different parcels that were held in trust, that are still held in trust, that we pay annually to those trusts. And we have leases on those trusts and those parcels in perpetuity that we have the ability to continue to extend, which we just did with one of them. And I apologize. I hit some traffic coming into work today, so I'm not in front of my computer, so I don't know exactly how many parcels encompass the lot in the space, but there are multiple.
This screen being shared.
Yes, it's still being shared. He said he's not in front of his computer.
Oh,
Yeah.
I will be in about a minute and a half, though.
Does this mean that the EV project separate parcel?
yeah, it was on that little trapezoidal one. Yeah, so I think we need to get a full picture, because now you're gonna subdivide off Canandaigua.
Well, the Canandaigua would just be its demise premise. So it would just be its building and its immediate parking.
Right? Are there, all like cross-access easements and everything in place?
So in our ground lease, we have language that provides them the rights to come over and through our property for their customers, their employees, their contractors. It's a robust section in our lease, in all of our ground leases. That is how we've addressed that cross access in the past.
So if there's going to be a separate parcel that you can sell off, then we're going to actually need filed and recorded permanent easements.
And would you guys need that today, knowing that we don't sell land as a company? And if we decided we wanted to sell land, then that would be part of that arm's length transaction?
The answer is that if we're creating a lot, it has to be a standalone lot. Right, it has to comply with everything that would make it a lot. And so they would have to be recorded permanent easements. Otherwise, it's not a lot, and down the road, it can just be sold. I mean, it could be sold to Canandaigua Bank tomorrow. I know you don't sell, I understand your business model, but just from a purely code standpoint, if it's going to stand alone, it has to have all of its accesses. And it needs to, like, we didn't look at it, it's like, oh, we'll just take the demised and take the parking. It was not reviewed by this board that way. It was reviewed as part of the plaza, part of interacting pieces. All the, access to wherever it was coming from, you could come from any angle, go in there. The parking was not looked at as a separate standalone. It was considered part of, like, there's enough parking all around there. We don't care. Yeah, there was some that was made better for that building, which is great. It all works and everyone's happy about that. But now if you're looking at it as a subdivided piece, it needs to be looked at brand new, basically.
So I guess a question for you guys, do you separately assess parcels that are not separate tax ID parcels? So that's the critical thing for us, is from a real estate standpoint, we want the Canandaigua National to be responsible for their own payment of property taxes. That is my intent of doing that, to get to that.
No.
Right. Part of the issue is that we were not told this was going to be subdivided until after this board had already approved the site plan. This was not brought up to us during the whole review process.
Yeah, agreed. And I apologize for that. That was in our contract with Canandaigua National, requiring them to do that. I don't know where that disconnect was. That's why they came after the fact.
So the county won't do a separate assessment unless it's a separate parcel.
Okay.
And the separate parcel comes from the town, you know, it's like a catch-22. Separate parcel comes from the town won't do it unless it meets the subdivision regs.
Yep, totally understood. We have encountered this in other municipalities as well. But every municipality is different. The language that we've had in our lease has been sufficient to do that. Some it has not.
Hey, what happened to Art? He was gonna come on.
So he is, I
Oh,
don't
he's
know where
trying
Art,
to- Oh,
And isn't able to, you don't see.
No, he's not in the waiting room.
James, you wanna, by rights, all those existing parcels should have all
Maybe
these
ask
too, because it's
It-
from the past.
He wants to call my cell phone.
Yeah. tell me it's not-
Oh.
maybe so.
I'm not sure he has it. It's 315-345-1666, and I'll pick up.
I think any of those parcels already have their own access.
Jamie, what was it again?
Understood, but. there's-
315-345-1666.
So they don't have.
So I thought there was precedent for the subdivision over at the other Wegmans Bank, in East Syracuse. The Wegmans and the bank. We had this situation last year.
We did, and it was, I can't remember what the result was, but we did resolve it. I can't remember now if we made it part of this part or if they made it separate. They talked about doing two separate things. And ultimately,
I hate that, there's something.
do they subdivide it eventually?
I believe it was subdivided, yes.
Yeah, it was something on its own. And that one had access.
Right.
agreements.
Yeah, oh yeah, that was very carefully talked about. Because it was like, where are the accesses, what's the front yard? And so we did treat it as a separate parcel, and it did meet all of the requirements, and it met the parking requirements. And or there were access easements about parking, like access. I don't know what your parcel's gonna look like. Or even what amount of parking is gonna be included, because if it stands alone, the building has to support all the parking on the site, it has to meet the setbacks, et cetera.
Some people might have said they were gonna subdivide and they wanted to be part of it.
Hi, I've got, Art's on the phone here. You're sitting, hi Art, you're sitting next to the chair. He
Hey,
can
Art.
hear you.
I apologize. I clicked on that link that was at the meeting ago, and my screen, for a second, it says.
Okay. All right, but we got you here. Thank you, thanks for calling.
Sorry.
Thanks for calling. We've got you here and Tim Dollinger's on the line.
Right, is he on the lighter?
Well, he's on the Zoom. He's on the Zoom, yep.
It's gonna be probably hard for anybody on Zoom to hear you talking here, but try and translate between the two.
Yeah, so what I'll try to do. Yeah. It's interesting, I don't know. Maybe. But it's strange that it's important. So anyway, so thanks for that Tim's out, right? So what I'll do is I'll talk briefly and then Tim can kind of advance that if need be for clarity.
Yep, he did start the discussion, but go ahead, Art.
You guys will have to repeat it for us because we can't hear it.
Yeah.
Okay,
And does Tim have screens up there too? Like aerials or schematics?
Yeah, we've got an aerial of the whole site.
is there a microphone? I'll hold that microphone.
All right, so, I don't know where Tim wants to start, I mean, I can feel it, but I'll try this way, and Tim can just go right, how's that sound? Right? So, the whole intent was, Jamie, as the board knows, just a master plan update, so, you're well aware that we did change out the lamps on the lighting, site lighting, saving time.
Can anyone hear that? So the lamps were changed out. I'm sorry if I feel like the translator, but keep going.
No, it's, I'm not gonna get you off. Right here. So. else is better.
It is better, that's better.
Right, so I have to just look to here, so just, they were switched out same in kind, that wasn't switched over. I think that's what we're doing, quite frankly, over the years, we're switching out. So like people have been doing that for a good number of years now, we have a regular upgrade program, but we just switched on same in kind. Paving, we've done the western half of the lot, the entire plaza, and a big piece of Wiggins, and the short that we're gonna do the eastern lot, including this, the retail strip there. And they signalize entrance next year, we would do that. Same May, you guys may say around 200 or so, plus or minus, depending on candidate financial bank, but you know, it's a long way. And my understanding is that they will be in April 26th, the building punch list, let me work on May paving. And then make sure they're working here that time, somewhere in May, June. To enhance that if necessary. So that's the big picture. We've done the curbside pickup, I think triggered this last year, 2 years ago. Something GB sent me emails talking about sketches. So since that time, we've looked again. So obviously the curbside pickup's done, Canandaigua Bank's underway, which was a conceptual art partially years ago. We had expansion to our food market, and now looking for conceptually done. For cheese picking site storage, that's being the northeast corner of the site there.
Yeah, and so we've got, and Tim explained that one, so you can skip over that one. We understand what you're trying to do there.
Yeah, so that would be number one if we advance near in future. And then the second one, which is really kind of out there, just a full, for a look at the plaza. Just west of that building or between Wiggins and the eastern development, northeast development, that would be a second conceptual parcel. And that would be basically it, that we have this master plan conceptual design.
All right, where was that one again?
That would be just, where is it? That's between the Wiggins and the building to the east. There's
So between Wegmans and Liquor City, that parking area that's in between, you intend to infill that?
Possibly, again, this is all conceptual, we have no plans, not even like.
We have no plans to do that anytime soon, but this is because it's a long range kind of strategic planning meeting. We thought we would bring that up
Yeah, no, we
at
appreciate that.
some point way down in the future if there was an opportunity or if, as the area and market continues to develop, right? Thinking very long term with that.
Okay,
Yeah, so there's no solid plan, no schedule, nothing out this year. It's just that when Jamie asked us, can we do consumption master plan? That's exactly that's feet up, looking down. That's what we're thinking about there. And it wouldn't be the whole area, just a portion of that part. And that's it, that's the high level. Any questions we can address it, like we're past this, we do have a question regarding tenants that's going through switch over process and strip there.
yeah, so where we were when you joined the conversation, we were talking about Canandaigua, the subdivision of that property, the requirement within the town and the county to have that as, if that is a individual tax parcel, it needs to have cross-access agreements in place outside of your lease structure, filed access agreements. There are a few other parcels that we see on site that we kind of, either would want to talk about getting those cleaned up and re-subdivided into the overall parcel. Or understand why not. But I'm looking at the one on the left, where the EV chargers were going to go at one point.
And are all those parcels you are referencing owned by Wegmans Food Markets? You're saying all the Wegmans owned
I
parcels?
believe so.
So when you say clean up, bear with me, so clean up.
Re-subdivided.
And just, and you might have explained this, and I apologize again. The reason for that was just generally then it's coming from your end and not, right, that we do that ourselves, but I was curious why is there gonna change the development standards of the town in general, just a, I don't.
Not even, I think, the development standards, I think what we're recognizing is, you know, when something like those EV chargers came in, because it is a separate parcel over there, it caused a lot of requirements and fusion and I don't know what else, it just, it made it difficult to figure out how we were crossing parts of the parcels with different uses.
Okay, yeah, okay, yeah, that's, I mean, I generally get the idea, so. Okay. So, just the presentation that very great, but your end is very high level conceptual response to board town's request to get a sense of read it in future, which you use Jefferson Kennedy, which bank. Yeah, but just switch over to the tenants, which leads into a simple, if we're done with the overall. Questions on that?
No, I think the short term, if we're talking the site. Would like to see you guys work on. You know, just cleaning up the parcels, I mean, with future development in mind, making it a lot easier for us. To look at this, so clean up the parcels, get the Canandaigua. Language in place, I mean, if we're gonna have to look at this being subdivided, we need to look at a full application. So we need to get all that language in place, the easements in place. So if we're talking on a site, let's look to clean this up. You know, make this as clean of a site as we possibly can. Right? And then you wanna talk about signage?
Yeah, but there's no, just, yeah, I just. I both just became aware of this, but Loomis, been going through a process, obviously, to occupy one of the spaces there. And just getting notice that they're super ramping and getting a permit, because they want to, and I think in November. For a exterior wall sign. And we saw some communications, and bear with me, I'm right now. They come from the town to Town Betteridge, to Loomis, and then to Town Better to real estate individuals that the town is looking for. This doesn't make sense to me, but it's something of the fact that there's, the town is afford a town signage plan.
Multi-tenant, yeah.
Sign or something.
Not a monumental.
Which has been there for day one.
Yeah, so what I think we're looking for is what's called a multi-tenant sign package. It establishes the standards for the plaza, so when you have multiple buildings, multiple tenants in a plaza. You know, we look for consistency across all tenants. So. With tenant turnover in here and new signage requests. I think what the town board is, or pardon me, the planning board is looking for. Is development of a multi-tenant sign package so that we have a reference standard. To look at when future tenants come in. Instead of one-offs every single time.
Correct, yeah, I understand. So that's just literally, it's a paper, it's not something, because what came through, or it wasn't clear, was the town looking for actually might even sign with tenants that didn't make much sense.
No, I don't think we're looking for a monument sign, I think it's
It's strictly a drawing with showing all the site plan and then showing, say, a matrix chart. With the existing or proposed square footage with each of the tenants. Is that
Well,
right?
so we do have a commercial sign criteria that is consistent among all our plazas. But there are always exceptions and variances to that. But if you, I mean, just look at the signage on our plaza, we do, and we obviously review and approve before any sign submittals come into you guys for review, because we also are looking for a consistent look with respect to signage throughout the plaza. So we have that in place with our tenants, just not something that we share with towns or municipalities, but we could certainly do that. I think my question would be, is there room for specific cases where we deviate from that sign plan, or are you looking for something that this is the sign plan,
we're looking for no deviations from that sign plan. You know, depends on sometimes the tenant that's going in, if it's a national brand and, you know, are they going to be able to have their national branding and colors reflected in their sign package?
I'll let you answer that. Well, like, here's the thing, we're gonna, if you wanna start with your sign package that you use, that'd be a great starting point. And then it may be too narrow, or even under our code, like it can be pretty flexible, but it has more to do with, you know, pick 5 colors.
Sure.
You know, give us
That
the,
way colors, because people do,
have
the
their
brands have very
Okay.
specific colors, but like no raceways. And I think
Yeah, that's
looking at
size, like,
Ariel,
all-
right now, it looks like you might have some raceways on this building.
Sorry, you said no raceways?
No raceways.
What is the intent of no raceways, if I can ask?
Yeah, we're here. Yep, you're here with everyone.
We start with this, so familiar with this, there's at least one other municipality that has something similar to this multi-site package. So with that, what we'll do is we'll develop based on what we have today, and we'll bring that elsewhere and overlay or combine that with, if you have a specific code, I'll write up on that, what needs to be in the signage package, and then take it from there, because
Right.
everything that's there is going to be grandfathered in, correct?
Yes, we don't ask to change all the signs. This is just the baseline for going forward. So the new tenant going in would meet the multi-tenant sign package, and then as other tenants turn over, they would be asked to meet the sign plan.
All right, okay, so let's start with that, we'll get whatever you have on there as its code. That's right, but if you're notified, then I will take, excuse me one second. Concurrent with that, we'll start drafting our plan as we understand, here again, I'm sure it's, that we understand the basic of what you're looking for, and we've done in the past. Else we'll present that drawing to you, so that we can take it there and mold it accordingly, and then what we all know we're working very forward from with this baseline.
Yeah, whoever's gonna be working on that, if you could have them contact Eric Balamut in the planning and zoning office. Eric walks people through these all the time.
We will do that, we'll turn in, does anybody want to be CC'd on any communications with your folks?
I think Eric will CC whoever he deems appropriate when he looks it over, so.
Okay, so we'll submit to Eric, and then he'll, you know, whatever, so back and forth, it's strictly between real estate and Eric at this point.
I guess, and before, because we do have another work session coming in, thank you. Before you came in, we talked at length about this, the Canandaigua Bank and this separate site.
Yeah.
That's needed, it needs, in order for it to be properly subdivided, it's going to need all the correct easements, accesses, we're gonna have to relook at the parking, make sure it's standalone. Make sure it meets setbacks, etc. And just a reminder, you know, if I'm not here, you're not here, who's ever here next will be like, listen, if you're gonna wanna divide out a piece. Then we need to look at it ahead of time, because now it's built, right? So then you're kind of stuck. Is anything gonna need variances now? And you know, we just wanna make sure that.
We might discuss on that, because after the fact that, so, we already in these place, but we may, if there were, usually have conversations about the grandfathering our current lines rather than like if a setback is off. So, I don't know, Joe, but that's a quick thought.
Oh, because, well, I think we need to look at the lines, I understand are the lot lines that are here, because part of the property is in a different entity, but we have a site plan that involves the whole piece. So those pieces are, you know, you're not gonna deed those off, they're part of the parking lot and so forth. It's really where they've got the structures that become more of an issue.
Okay, yeah,
Or if you end up building out that last piece and it's a whole, you know, somehow you're gonna wanna divide it off or something. We need to look at that.
okay, Jane, thank you.
You're welcome.
On your application, sorry about whatever. It's the whatever the Okay, well, thank you, everybody, thanks for your patience.
Yep.
Thank you, Art.
Tim, the quick response to your question, the raceway is an aesthetic thing that the town is, opposed to. So when they have those standoff letters on a raceway, we just don't like seeing that as part of multi-tenant sign packages or really at all.
So it's a standard that's getting.
Yep.
Okay, if I could just, right, we require raceways because when you have standalone channel letters, you're having multiple penetrations into the fascia with 1/2-inch anchor bolts. So when that tenant removes their sign, you're gonna have 15 to 20 1/2-inch penetrations. And you will also have discoloration on that facade because each of those channel letters is gonna be pressed tightly to the facade. In a raceway, you get one band of discoloration. And it's gonna, as tenants turn over, the front facades will start to look non-consistent due to the discoloration of the letters. Unless we are painting the front facade after every tenant changeover, which is just an unrealistic expectation and cost for us if we change over a small 1,000 square foot tenant. Just potentially something to consider.
I hear you.
Discuss it.
You know, we'll gather our stuff, we'll look at if you can send the code to us, that'd be great. And then we'll forward.
Sounds good, appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
triggered.
Right. You're
It's okay. I don't feel it. Do I have it, Art?
Okay. Next up, we have Ben Allen. I think that's great.
Hello, everybody.
All right. So we need to kind of get a handle, I think what we've seen, the removal of the storefront in that area, the line works, the water line's fine, the dry well seems to work. I mean, that's really the basis of some of the stuff, but the issue that we're quickly finding is that we need to understand what the elevations are and lock the elevations in because they seem to be moving and changing. So can we walk through, unless there's any site issues that we need to address?
So Mark, you were okay with everything?
Yes, for the site, yeah, no problems.
So material wise, elevation wise, I'd like to walk through what your plans for this building is and get a full final submission for the elevations that then become the standard or the approved set.
So what I can do is, obviously this is Ray Trotta, from Holland Trotta. I can walk through what I was part of, if you will, and I believe in talking to Vince, he's not on the call today, but Vince said that the architect did submit different elevations that basically are the exact same as this, except they have color on them, was my understanding, because this is the grayscale one. So that obviously will clarify a lot. And also for the meeting, I don't know if they were going to get the materials because they were trying to get them from all the vendors prior to the meeting, but they will have them at the meeting. So we will have all the materials that I believe that you can see, touch, and look at for the exterior materials. You will notice that from the last time when we were at the planning board, the signage did not match the elevations. It was partially detailed, but partially that last bay. The one request from the planning board was that everything to the left of the zoning line, which is that dotted line that is shown on the front elevation, everything to the left has to be ancillary warehouse to the retail activities that are to the right. So everything has been modified. So the tenants, the storefronts, everything is to the right of that line in the commercial zone. So everything in the residential zone has been taken out. And as far as, I mean, there's still facade there, but no storefront or anything of that nature. Obviously, continuation of materials that are on that side, but this does match what was approved, I believe, not last Thursday, but I think it was the Thursday before for the signage. Everything is copacetic now on what you saw, and what the signage was approved. The only thing you really probably have to focus on, as you were saying on this Thursday's meeting, is the actual materials, colors, things of that nature. And unfortunately, the one that's up on the screen right now is the grayscale. So, and they submitted it, but I didn't have a copy of the color one because the architects submitted it directly. But the one thing I can tell you in talking to them is if you look at the rendering, that would probably help if we call that up, is that on the color, if you will, these are generally whites and off whites. So they don't really show up very well on color as it is, as you can see. So that, I mean, it's whites and light grays. That is the correct color scheme. And obviously the awnings are the darker slate. What was that?
Is the brick that's being shown for the other tenants a painted brick?
That I believe is, I don't know if it's painted or it's an actual material brick, limestone color. I believe, being that it's brick, I would say, to answer your question, it has to be painted, because you know as well as I do, it's very hard to get a quote unquote white brick unless you go with a certain manufactured limestone material. So you would have variation in it. So I would guess, I can't see if it says that on the elevations, if it says painted brick.
I don't know that the elevation is calling out materials.
Let's
Yes, it says brick beaten up white.
Right, and so we just told citizens across the street that they can't paint the brick.
Yeah, I don't know if it's painted or not. Existing CMU. Well, first of all, the back is painted, because that's CMU, obviously, and that would be paint to match.
Yeah, I mean, there's that whole corner, if you're looking at the screen right now, the corner on the right-hand side, I think architecturally has got issue because you have, I think there's not you necessarily, but there is metal panel that runs to the corner, but not around the corner. And then you have CMU along the back elevation, which is matching up to the metal panel kind of on that outside corner.
Okay.
But then it looks to be brick on the tenant facade, which is now painted. So you got this kind of conglomeration of materials that are all happening right on the corner. We're not inclined to approve painted brick, certainly along this corridor. There's no buildings that are painted brick. We've had tenants or other applicants come in where we've had this conversation and steered them away from painting the brick.
Sure.
There, so if it is a white brick, you're gonna wanna probably try and find a white brick or a different material in there.
And we can, I can convey that message to them. The biggest thing is, keep in mind, like normally I agree with you 100% about wrapping around the corner. I don't know if it's necessary in this case, as you know, the site, I mean, by time you get to, first of all, we're in the residential zone. And by time you get to that corner, no one's wrapping that corner other than the employees and things of that nature. So it's a facade that's never seen.
On the front facade.
What was that?
Wrap the corner on the front facade.
Correct, because that's facing the road. I'm saying from the elevation you're looking at right now, that this is technically the backside, even though it's the side of the building. So I'm just saying, if you look at the site, if you approach the site, it's all treed on that side, and you are not really you're not see this side you're looking at right now is actually facing Genesee. So
right.
Yeah, the other side is literally facing the woods. The side on the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, my architectural brain looks at that and says, you know, show me the detail, because I'm not entirely sure how that is going to look on the corner,
Sure.
but
Now, would it, I mean, going to the rendering, did you want different rendering angles? Would that help? Because again, I do agree with them that, you know, on elevations, you can see the materials, obviously, if you bring in the real, but it's hard to see in a color elevation, white on white. So I don't disagree with that, but I think the rendering really kind of paints the picture. The one you have, if you
I'm
could
not
click on
entirely
the,
sure, I'm not entirely sure that the rendering accurately depicts it, because if you go to the rendering, it looks like it shows that material going all the way back to the corner, but when you look at the elevation, there's, you know, 4 feet of metal panel, and then it starts brick. So you've got this kind of interstitial material between the brick where it wraps the corner.
and we could have them clean that up. That's not, I don't think that's an issue, because I don't disagree with you. We have to have that accurately depict what is going on. But I'm just saying, from a color standpoint, the rendering kind of paints the picture a little bit better of what the color actually is.
Yeah, yeah, I mean. It's an uphill battle. I don't know that this board would approve painted brick, but
And that's fine. That's fine. That's fair. And what we can do is we can, if it behooves the board, if we're looking for a preliminary approval and whatnot, that we could have preliminary and then final, being that the board actually approves that actual brick material, if that's okay.
yeah, I mean, they're what, preliminary,
Green for now is like moving the water line.
right?
As far as materials, I have no issue. I don't think they have any issue whatsoever that the board has, you know, privy to approving the actual brick material. That makes sense. It makes sense to me what you're saying.
Right. Just so I understand, what we have in front of us is moving the water line and the dry well. And kind of
Correct.
amending that site plan. So we can
That's
take
correct.
amended site plan and not handle the materials right now, have a conceptual discussion with or whoever's gonna be here about what the materials are, what the look is, because we need updated elevations. We'll have that kind of preliminary conversation, and then at a subsequent meeting, we can do a final approval and finalize and stop the elevation from changing.
That's 100% correct. What we're looking to do is continue the site work. Obviously, we don't want to, you know, we got winter tapping at us right now. So we want to get the dumpster relocated. We want to get the dry well relocated. We want to get the water line in. And basically in that time while we're doing that, we could get the elevations approved for final. So your depiction is absolutely correct.
The elevation, so that would be a separate amended. site.
Yes.
It almost seems
Yeah.
like at the end of this too, you're gonna want a conform set just for tracking. Everything that's
That
been
makes sense.
changing.
That makes it, and quite frankly, it's part of the, as you guys know, as part of the site approval process, you have to have elevations. So we're just doing them for reference with the site plan.
So if that's not part of the site plan, let's take all of the elevations out of this package and only include what you want to do right now.
So for Thursday, we can take care of. Because they're not on, so for the next meeting, 2 weeks from now, we can take care of the amended site plan. We can do preliminary, we can have Ian come in and talk to us about the elevations, get everything cleaned up. And then,
If we have a new application.
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So what we would do, I guess, just for continuity, is that these elevations that were shown to you are just to show that there's a continuity between the signage approval and the elevations are copacetic now. And now the next meeting after Thursday would be for the building elevations and the building architecture only, correct?
Well, not this Thursday, the amended site plan is not on the agenda for this Thursday. The amended site plan for site work would be the next meeting.
Okay, it's not this Thursday, it's 2 weeks from now.
Correct.
Okay,
And then in the meantime, get an amended site plan application into the town for the elevations.
Okay,
And give us a new package for this one that removes all the elevations, please. So it's clear that that's not part of the approval. So it should just include the site plan for like the water line and the dry well and the dumpster. And no elevations.
well, we already did that, and then I don't know who asked who, but we actually checked the box for the elevations and put these in later to make sure they were in. So, I mean, it's already been submitted. So we have to resubmit it again without it, because we already submitted it without it. And then we were told to add the elevations, so we added them and then checked the box. And now you want us to do another, I mean, wouldn't it just make sense to just not include them?
Nail down these elevations, so that's why we were trying to kind of add that to this.
So do we have an elevation, site plan, amended site plan package that does not include the elevations?
I think site plan is.
Well, I wouldn't just remove them because we asked that the elevations are shown on our sheets if it's listed on there. If Ray's saying that there was an application
Yeah.
already
so
submitted, which does not include the elevations, just amended site plan.
the Site plan application is this on it, I mean, we can pull that out of it.
Is that listed? Is there a cover sheet that lists that sheet? No, what Alana's looking at, not what you're looking at.
Yeah, I believe, to clarify, I believe the site plan original package that was sent this time had, in it, it had elevation with no color or anything like, right there, exactly. And it also had the floor plan, which is a requirement of the site plan approval.
So that if there's no cover sheet, I think what we can do is we can just strike sheet A301 from this. 201, 301, right? Well, no, 201 shows the
Floor plan.
floor plan.
Well, can't you, correct me if I'm wrong, I didn't mean to interrupt, but can't you just leave those in and just say that you're requiring for final approval, the materials and more detail on the elevations? Because I'd hate to have that you're required the elevation. It doesn't give any detail on these. These are just flat elevations and a floor plan, which was required as part of the site plan approval. It said last time that we had to show the floor plan and the elevations with the zoning line in, and that's what this shows. The other one that you had on the thing is when it goes into the color comment.
Requiring additional review. The elevations.
The biggest thing on these is it shows the zoning line.
I think we're trying to break the two and
Yeah,
figure out.
trying to get to an endpoint of how to get this.
And there's an earlier drawing set that we received on August 29th that has all the details for the dry well and the water line and all that. Has anything changed from that plan set as far as all your details?
None of the details, but remember we had to add the approximate location of the gas line, so that's been added on this.
You just send us a package with the most updated site plan and all the details in it.
Without any architecture at all, no floor plan, no nothing.
I would like to leave that out because I think there's a lot of confusion. We're seeing so many different iterations of elevations. I think we should just group them all together.
Just one that's
Yeah.
final.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's so many iterations for this project. It's getting very confusing trying to figure out what was through.
We could do that.
All
Yeah,
right,
so
so
just leave the elevations off. If you can give us a new submittal for just the elevations, if that's gonna take a little longer. That would be
Yeah,
a
that's-
new amended site plan application. for the
That's
ele-
absolutely fine. I just wanted to make sure we were addressing the planning board comments from last time because
no, we appreciate
I
that.
think we're just trying to nail down what the final elevations are, so, that's why we were asking for that as part of this.
sure. So you want two separate submissions, two separate packages. One is the site plan. The other one would be the site plan. We're looking for seeking approval. The elevations, if you will be going through the process of they're not concept anymore, but it would be preliminary and final that they would, correct?
Yes, so the site plan package that you're gonna get us for the current application with the water line and all that, we don't need a new application, just a final plan package.
Yep.
Paper copies and a thumb drive. And then a new site plan, amended site plan application for all the architecturals.
Okay,
Well,
No,
I mean, I wanna be careful about calling it a new site plan, you know, because it's
yeah, but we have to
It's-
take it into application.
amended as to. I mean, I wanna make it very clear, it's amended as to elevations only,
Yes.
that's,
I agree, Jamie,
I just wanna be careful about that.
because we don't want to start from scratch.
And then, but then the things that are changed on the site, like field changes of. Locations of water lines and stuff. That doesn't change what the board has approved. It's
That's
just
not a field change, well, that's what's being approved right
Right.
now. That's what's
The
before
water
us right now, it's the site plan to move the water line and the dry well and the
Dumpster.
dumpster. That's the current application. We're trying to kind of wrap it all up because there's,
as a site plan issue. The dumpster, but.
Drywall.
I mean, are we gonna take this site plan and make, is that we're gonna take this new like revised site plan, go back, compare it line by line to the other one? Or say we've got an approved site plan. We've got one, right? It just having an internal. Yeah, discussion about this. And
we,
you know, some note or something that just shows like that corner just look, here's the dumpster. And the water line is, it's an engineering thing.
Jamie, we don't have a copy of the site.
Jamie, to answer your question, this is the approved site plan with the bubbled items that are shown right now are the only changes to that approved original site plan. I think it was 2 years ago.
Can you send me that approved site plan?
Yep,
I just wanna make sure we're looking at the same one. Okay, so whatever that was of that approved site plan, we'll look at this and then if the board just wants to just say for clarity. This is the approved site plan, I guess.
I mean, do you have the site plan that was signed and approved by Peter?
yes,
That's the one that Jamie wants.
yep. I know exactly what she wants. She wants the one that's legally the legal site plan, and then these are the revisions.
Yes, just to make sure. Okay, then we'll look at the revisions and then we'll decide how we want to put it in a resolution and file and put as final.
Fair enough.
And then
Okay.
so then it goes to getting a new site plan application for the elevations.
Well, we've already seen those twice, so we would have to go back to the beginning, and we already did concept of it, didn't we?
Just want the final elevations. You want final elevations.
Yeah, no, I get you. I get you that, but I just don't want to start from scratch, that's all.
I don't think we're starting from scratch, so just, let's get final elevations. Let's see what this revised, send me what you have from Peter, make sure we've got the same thing. We'll look at this and then we'll decide how we deal with that, as a site plan modification.
Just for me reporting back, how long, if we give you everything final, obviously in 2 weeks, we're looking at site plan approval, how far along do you think we are in getting elevation approval, if it's to your approval? I mean, how long is the process, I guess?
Should be able to do it at the next meeting.
Should be.
Yeah,
Right. if
Okay,
it meets
okay.
all requirements.
Fair enough. Excellent.
We just need an application. Open to start moving.
Yeah, we need an application to finalize set of elevation.
It would be an amended
Stop
site
me.
plan to finalize now.
Now, let me ask a technical question, Jamie. If we have the architect submit the elevations, is that more confusing or less confusing from a procedural standpoint? Because then it's almost like a new application. That's my only fear.
It does need to be a new application. I mean, if we're gonna approve this
Okay,
one,
okay, so I'll have them submit it directly.
Like,
That way it's clear to you guys that In Architects is submitting elevations, Kipling and Freeman, Holland Trotta are the site, and that way it's nice and clear.
I don't think it's a brand new application.
we won't have an open application after this one.
But it's,
all part of that originally, right? We approved elevations under a previous application number. Right,
and this is a
that
map.
permit's still active, the permit's not closed. You can't close it. Right, so it would be, whatever that was.
Right, an amendment, we have the same thing.
Okay, and that's what we are at the amended site planning. Okay,
Right.
So it would be submitted as an amended site plan for the elevations?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
Yeah, even though like we have there yet. That's easier to do than all the. Okay,
okay,
got a plan? Everybody on board with the plan?
makes
Okay.
sense. All right,
Great.
I'll get cracking on that immediately.
Thank you,
Thank you.
appreciate
Thank
that.
you. You have a great day.
Thank you.
You too.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Really need to get for everybody.
Yeah. All right, so with no other items on the agenda, I will close the work session for this morning.